Recording now. Bring in the beat.
Yo! What the Bearman! Troopers! Yo! Are you ready? You don't know about this! What do you know about drinking beer? Yo! Let's go!
I know you like to drink strongbow, cause you wanna get strong like bear. But you'll get beat like a bongo. Deep in the woods I'm there, so don't come near. And I know you like to drink Budweiser, cause you wanna get wise like Brown. But you'll get murked like an insider when he snitches about the town. So, hi, it's me, the carnivore. I'll leave your body all sore. You don't wanna fight or war, cause you'll endure. Right hooks up in your jaw. You don't wanna bear that strong, it's long. Cause I'll beat your chest like King Kong. And you'll hear bells like ding dong when you've just been battered like ping pong. So, anyway, it's back to the bear. You don't wanna end up with one this year. One end on your face, yeah, that's waste. And a blow to the mouth leaves you with no taste. You don't wanna get a beer vex, jam. Go to the pub and drink Bex. Or some castle wine Rolex. Beer man up in your bills like old ticks, let's go. I know you like to drink strongbow, cause you wanna get strong like bear. But you'll get beat like a bongo. Deep in the woods I'm there, so don't come near. And I know you like to drink Budweiser, cause you wanna get wise like Brown. But you'll get murked like an insider when he snitches about the town.
Yo! Yeah, this is Moma. I'm back again. Had a little hiatus during the couple of weeks. A little bit ill. Not debilitating, but couldn't put up the stuff the way we wanted to. But we're back. We've got special guests today as always. And yes, here with my co-host and special guest. Introduce yourself.
Rude boy. Special guest?
Oh, what's going on? DistantLight here. How's everyone doing?
We're well.
We're good. So yeah, DistantLight it's got that different type of energy, which is all good. And yeah, he got that vibe there. So yeah, we're just gonna come in today and talk a little bit about yourself, your outtake on game, and insights that definitely people want to know about. There wasn't any questions that was submitted specifically that people wanted to know. But yeah, just kind of, tell a bit about your background as much as you want to relay. And yeah, kick through.
All right, well, I definitely should start from how I used to be because it's drastically different to what it is now. But I grew up in Brooklyn, and you could basically say I lived in the worst neighborhood of Brooklyn, and I was a part of a bunch of gangs. My whole lifestyle was into gangs, and I was very negative. But I guess you could say back in high school, I knew there was a point where I was so negative that I would not even laugh at all. And all of ninth grade, basically, I remember the last week or something like that, these two girls seen me laugh for the first time, and they're looking at me like if this is National Geographic, and they just straight up oh my gosh, look, this guy, he's laughing, he's actually having a good moment in his life. And that's when I kind of knew that I was really low self-esteem. I purposely maintained a C average, and even when I was I guess put inside of an advanced class, whatever, I purposely got myself kicked out of it. That way I could stick with my crew. Seventh grade, basically, we did no work. We'd play tag during lunchtime. I don't think we ever did any work in seventh grade. And then after when I got out, I ended up going to acting school. And that's when I learned about the community, and I started going out. And I think 2008, I met a guy on RSD Nation, and we started going out. And that's when I got addicted to going out, approaching. I basically became a junkie, dropped out of acting school just so I could do all this pickup stuff. And eventually, it was to the point where I actually got really good at the whole chasing stuff, persisting. I'd basically go months where I would just talk to other girls that had guys in the group, and I'd basically, in my mind, I would just be yo, these guys gotta try and stop me from banging their chicks. So I would just basically be disrespectful about it and just go for their girls. And I was pretty hardcore about that stuff. But then there was a point where everything started to get a bit weird because there was a night, actually there was a week. There was a week when I met like these 5 model chicks in like 1 week during day game, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm getting really good. Like I'm instructor level, I could do this, blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, the week after, one of my friends, he's like, hey, I'm gonna try and get you into this club. Like I know everybody. I want you to see something. So when I go in, it's like this new spot. Everything's looking pretty chill. And all of a sudden, like 30 or 40 girls just roll into the club with these 2 guys. And I'm looking at my boy like, yo, this is your crew? Like, what the hell is going on here? How the hell does these 2 guys have so many girls with them? And there's like a bunch of food, a lot of alcohol, blah, blah, blah. And that moment made me think like, yo, those 5 models that I just met, like, that means nothing. Like, look at these guys. They're like, when it comes to hooking up, like, that should be easy for them because they're with so many chicks. So I like let that go for like a year. And one of those girls that I met that week, the 5 model chicks, one of them I actually added on Facebook, and I think it was like springtime or so. She posted pictures in Saint Tropez, and she has like these double magnum Cristal bottles and like a bunch of girls, and there's these three black guys, matter of fact, from New York. They're in the pictures, and I kind of knew them through like blogging and like seeing seeing posts about like New York nightlife, and I was just like, holy shit, this girl knows these 3 guys. Like, she's in Saint Tropez, and there was this other Italian guy that was with them, and basically all of them were together partying, and that like really started to cause me to reevaluate like all this pickup stuff, because here it was, I was doing pretty good, but it was like I was hustling really hard just to like maintain any sort of consistency. And the next year after, I was hanging in one of the clubs with one of my boys that took me out the time, and all of a sudden there's like a mixed group of like 50 people just walk in, and they go to the main table in front of the DJ booth, and all of a sudden all these huge bottles are just coming out, and I'm looking at my boy like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, how the hell are these people doing this? I need to be a part of this group. So I basically told him like, yo, I'm about to leave you right now. I'm joining this group, because at this point I knew how to kind of like get in with like mixed groups and stuff. So I go in, and let's just say I had one of the best nights ever. Like, I'm there at the table, drinking for free. I met like 2 model chicks and like some Colombian girl, and the whole night was just epic. And after that night, I was just at my house thinking like, yo, this is the shit. Like, this is the type of way that I need to live. I need to figure out how to do this. And maybe a week or 2 later, I basically went out 70 days in a row, not really knowing exactly how I'm going to do it, but I just figured, you know what, just going to go out. I'm going to figure this out. At this point, I knew that having fun had to like do with it. So I was just kind of like, yo, you're going to go out, you're going to have fun, you're going to meet people. Like, don't make it any more complicated than that, and let's see where it goes. And I think by the 30th night, you could kind of say I was in. And after like the 70 days, it was just, everything just came true basically. And the only reason why I actually stopped was because there was a hurricane in New York that year, so the trains like got cut off or whatever. But yeah, it was the start.
Sorry, I gotta cut you there. Thanks for the intro. And I don't mean to be rude. I hate to do this to you, but did you just say a couple of things now? Did you say 70 nights you went out?
Yeah, 70 nights in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, DistantLight's a different brother, boy.
All right,
I forgot
Ed.
to mention.
I know you started with the grade
Uh-huh.
8 and all that kind of stuff. I just want to rewind to the beginning now. Just to clarify, you are American born?
Yeah, I'm American born. My parents is Jamaican and Trinidadian.
Yep.
Ah, yeah.
Most people,
Put up
most
the
people,
odd man them.
most people in Brooklyn, because I was there a few years ago. Everyone I met was from the island, pretty much. When I say from there, if they were born there, their parents were there. So that was one place when I spoke. They knew immediately that I'm from England because everyone from the English-speaking Caribbean has at least a cousin or relative in
Yeah.
England. So that was that. So when you said New York, my brain starts to think now because Archie is also from New York, and I'm not sure if he's from Brooklyn, but that's the thing. So yeah, do you think that your background has perhaps changed your approach in terms of how you look things? When I talk about your background, I mean that obviously your parents are from the Caribbean, the West Indies, and the household will have a different mentality. So, if you compare yourself to your peers, would you say that that influenced the way that you looked at things, or as far as you saw it, you're just the same as any other Black American?
Uh, I would say I was pretty much a weird kid in a sense because something that I just skipped over of. I was like very negative, and I got into like I can't even say the word. I was very spiritual, whatever. Like I researched like out of body experiences, lucid dreaming, and I kind of wanted to like do it to explore it and basically see why I was so negative. So after that, in 2009, I read a book called My Big Toe, My Big Theory of Everything by Thomas Campbell, and it basically is like a foundation of like reality, basically. And after when I read that, I kind of started living in a way where I don't really believe, like I basically challenge all my beliefs, so to speak. And if I don't have experience to back it up, then it's essentially not my truth. So in a sense, it was like I was just grabbing onto different like perspectives that I found profitable for my life. And I realized growing up that the whole like gang mentality and me being negative was just me buying into the whole environment that I was in. And I would say I was more American than actually Caribbean. So yeah, you can say that.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. It kind of it just makes me think because I grew up in London. There's a lot of similarities, so that's why when you're talking, you say certain things start to stick in my head. But that 70 night going out is write that down because that ethic, something's got to give. Something's
Yeah.
got to give. You know what I mean? Like even if you're going out totally blindly, you're gonna learn something. And I mean, the New York environment is great for that because you meet so many people. Yeah, and I think I'm starting to remember some of the stuff you spoke about. You spoke about you like really tall Asian women. Is that right? 5'10" and up.
I like Eastern European women, but I specifically do like tall Asian women. Like I think I met maybe seven or eight, and three of them I had really good moments with.
What does a good moment entail?
like, like,
This is a podcast, isn't it? We're keeping it real, isn't it?
like basically, like
Read
we
between
had a
the
moment where like, yo, we need to like hook up. Like this moment that we have together, the amount of tension, the passion that we have right now, it's really good. But one particular girl that I'm thinking of, she kind of like slipped through the cracks because I was going out so much that I just basically forgot. But yeah,
That's
I do
good.
like the tall ones.
That's
How
good.
tall are you?
I'm 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Would you say that because what you're saying now, I'm trying to gather that is it down to the fact that you've got a decent look to that's conducive to that, or you know, I'm not sure. I mean, I've never seen you. I'm just trying to see that your ability to go out and meet these chicks and just vibe and so forth. I'm trying to see where that confidence has
Most of
come
that came
from.
from my demeanor, and also after like the 70 days or whatever. When it came to 2012, March 2012 to be exact, I had an experience where I basically hated the whole pickup community. Like, I hated the whole perspective, and for like a good 2 months, I had to stop like learning stuff from it or like thinking about it because basically I went to like this warehouse party and I was completely sober, just partying it up, and I meet this girl. I basically like have like this moment where we're dancing. I'm like picking her up, spinning her around in the air, and like we're making out, and it looks like a done deal. So I go back to her place with her roommate, and she's just like, "Hey, we can't like hook up because I don't believe in monogamy, and she's looking for true love, and she's like on LSD. So if we have sex, like she's gonna fall in love with me or something." So I'm like, "All right, whatever. We'll go to sleep." And 2 days after, I like text her like, "Yo, uh, I should come over or whatever." And she's like, "Yeah, you should come over." I tell her that I want to grab something to eat. So if she knows anything, she should take me there. I'm like 2 hours late, and when I show up, like you can clearly see that she's pissed off. But once we start walking, she just goes like, "Yo, I was really pissed off that you were this late. Like, I already thought like, fuck this guy. I'm just gonna be a mute and make sure this gets horrible." But she's like, as soon as I got there, she instantly just felt like having fun with me and forgot about it. So while we're there, we're like talking and stuff, and she just comes to this whole like conclusion that I'm too used to getting what I want. So I just start laughing. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And when we get back to her place, I always assume like, yo, this is a done deal. So I'm already naked, and she's like takes off her top. She's still in her underwear, and she just lies in the bed with her back facing me. So I'm just like, what the hell is this shit? So I'm like trying to escalate. I'm like rubbing her and like trying to finger her. She's not having it. Then all of a sudden, I'm like trying to like lift her over. It's looking like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm straddling her like I'm trying to make that work, but it's just not going. And in that moment, I'm just like, yo, what the hell is this shit? Like, do you have any self-respect? Like, you're actually trying so hard. Like, what's the point of you hooking up with her and you're trying so hard? And I just stopped and I started laying there. And then I was thinking about all the like community concepts of like persisting and plowing. And I'm just like, dude, I have no respect for myself right now. Like, I'm here basically begging for her to like make me have sex with her or whatever. And after that, I was just like, yo, I'm done. Like, I'm not chasing anymore. Like, this is the last time ever. And tomorrow, I'm just gonna tell this chick we should just be friends. We are on a different wavelength. That we shouldn't do this. So I like text her and I'm like, yo, we have two different perspectives on life. So I think this wouldn't work out. We should just be friends. And all of a sudden, she's like, you know what? Just have a nice life. Forget this. And I'm telling her like, yo, it's not even about that. It's just you're just making things complicated, and I'm just an easygoing guy that just wants to have fun. So I told her we should just be friends. And all of a sudden, the week later, she's just like, yo, do you want to come over? Next week, she's like, yo, do you want to come over? And instantly, I was just like, wow. The mere fact that I was done and like forgot about it, was not willing to cooperate and go down that road, all of a sudden, she like switched on me. And after that, like the whole of 2012, I was just basically not chasing, like just going around socializing and actually having some sort of criterion boundaries. And let's just say since 2012 to now, I've basically never had LMR ever again. Like, sex is straightforward, meeting girls is straightforward, and during that whole year, I kind of like figured out a process where it kind of felt like every day I could have got laid. And there was a moment where when my good friend who's bisexual, he went to Europe, and while he was gone, I basically was just going crazy, like hooking up left and right. And when he came back, he's just like, "Yo, what the hell is going on? You're just disappearing now." And you could just say I was indulging in the fact that I kind of seen a new angle, a whole new perspective of things, and yeah, that's essentially what kicked off everything, which is how I am now.
Interesting, interesting. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So what I'm gauging from it is that I guess after time it sounds more on the spiritual level that once you're able to determine certain energies, you almost attract certain people, and some can attribute it to game, and game is also about recognizing certain things within some people's self. You have some of the similarities to me in the sense that, and Rude Boy as well. We've spoken, and we don't like to, and I don't like to, speaking for myself, push too much. Like, I don't like to grab and try, and it should be at least 50-50. You know what I mean? It doesn't work for me. So you saying that makes me realize that there's some similarities to the way I think, and that is a process that I want to get to. I don't like to make the process too approach this, do that, so forth. It
Yeah.
takes the fun out of it, you know. One step forward, two step back. I kind of like to just respond to the moment, but after a while, our responses are correct because we're able to read the moment unconsciously. That chick that was giving you all that issue, that lizard, did
Hmm.
you, when she called you over those couple of weeks, did you go over and bang that?
Well, it's actually pretty funny because one night she actually did get me to hang out with her, and we went and party, and then I just left, nothing. And then one night I randomly did come over, and we actually did like hook up and stuff. But there was a night where she actually like texted me, and for some reason I showed up, and she's just like, "Yo, I can't believe you showed up. Like, there's this guy I've always been seeing. He's coming over right now." And then she like starts crying, and she's like, how she cares so much about me, and I'm just like, "Yeah, cool, whatever." And I just peaced out after that. But yeah, every so often she still hits me up, but I don't really talk to her.
Wow. You know what I really like about you and what I respect, and I think this is the problem, and this is a message to a lot of black dudes out there, and sadly enough, I think this is the biggest problem among black men is
Mhm.
that you said, and I love it, that and I hope you say it again. You said basically you have standards and you have limits, and you were
Yeah.
trying with that girl, and I guess the term is thirsty,
Yep,
and
definitely.
yeah, you just said that you know you didn't respect yourself, and I have a bit of that because it's an age thing. I think one of the reasons I like to travel is because I'm exposed to better looking girls who treat
Yeah.
me better, and that's why in all my podcasts you'll hear I'm pretty, what's the word, pretty is it bullish on Europe, because I've had just mind blowing experiences there. So right now, unfortunately, I'm in Toronto, and as
Uh-huh.
Moma can attest, we try to avoid that topic. But Toronto, you've got women that are in their 40s and their 50s, and they claim they have standards, and I'm sure there are some black guys that are hitting them. So yeah, I mean, a lot of respect there, and also too, I guess the main thing is in New York. I mean, New York is a hell of a lot different than Toronto. I think New York is similar. I've been there many times, as Moma said. We all have family there, and New York just seems to have a different energy, a different vibe. So if you could maybe speak to that or your thoughts on New York. Obviously, I'm sure you're a big fan, right?
Yeah, New York is actually really interesting because you have like what people in like the high end scene would call the general population, and then you have like people who are, as they say, in the know. Like if you if you check out the music video "Selfie" by the Chainsmokers, like the way that the girls are acting and talking, like that's kind of like the vibe that's normal in the high end scene or whatever. But when I started after the 70 days, like 2012 and everything else, when I started hanging out in like the whole high end scene, I started meeting certain guys that had a whole different like way of going about things, and that kind of influenced me a whole lot. So I kind of seen both perspectives of like the dating community and the high end scene, and I kind of seen the holes in the community or whatever. And eventually it was kind of like I was seeing a whole different worlds where everything that should apply didn't apply in a sense. And eventually it got to the point where I got into my ways. Like, as this one girl says, I'm pretty stubborn, even though she still hooks up with me. But anyway, they like call me stubborn because I don't go on dates, and like now my whole style is very challenging and confrontational. Like, I don't take shit from chicks. I'm like really nice, but at the same time I'm not actually nice to them. Like, I guess you could call it tough love in a sense. And it's like, in my mind, I always think, can these girls handle me, and do they make the cut in a sense? Like, I really have in my mind a certain way that I want girls to be and stuff. And I guess that's why I got really good with Eastern European women, because that whole like ice queen stuff, that a lot of people would look at them and think, oh, they don't like me, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And for me, it's just like, fuck that. Like, I am how I am. Like, I'm just gonna do me. You better get your shit together. And usually they're always just like, yo, you're crazy. Like, you're really crazy. So it got to the point where any girl that says that I'm crazy, I'm just like, this girl's basically just saying she wants to hook up with me right now, in a sense. And yeah. Something I also should point out is my bisexual friend. When I first started hanging out with him, he was like one of the first other guys that I seen that had like boundaries or whatever, because somehow we're like in a taxi with these three girls going to another club, and he's just drunk and he's going off on one of the girls. Like, he's just like, babe, you need to shut the fuck up and like just learn to look pretty and just suck some dick. Like, just shut up. And she's like getting offended, and he's like, no, I'm not trying to offend you. Like, you just gotta understand, like, you're this hot girl, like, you need to chill out. Like, no one gives a fuck, blah blah blah. We get to the club, and it's not even 2 minutes, and he's just like, yo, Distant, we're leaving right now. And I'm just like, yo, shouldn't we like wait for the girls? And he's like, no, forget that, like, let's just go. And when we get in the taxi, he's like, he like told me something that I'll never forget, where it's just like, yo, I do this, I am how I am because I can get away with it. Like, people accept it. That's why you see me at Fashion Week. I'm supposed to get kicked out, but they never kick me out because it's me. And we don't need these chicks. Like, we're doing them a favor, blah, blah, blah. And after, as we like hung out more and more, there was many girls that hung out with him, but it was like almost if he was a pimp in a sense, where these chicks would just not they would not ever like be disloyal to him. Like, if you seen these girls out, they were only out with him. They would not go out if he isn't going out. Like, it was pretty interesting the way that he handled stuff, and we both had like similar outlooks, and that's why we became good friends. He's probably the only guy that I actually really started hanging out with, because one of the first nights during those 70 days, I remember trying to get into one club, and the door guy, he's talking to a regular, and the regular's trying to get two guys in, and the door guy's just like, yo, no one told you to bring these two guys. And I was about to like get in, and I'm just like, dag, I'm never hanging out with another guy. Like, I'm going solo, and I'm just gonna meet these girls, hang out with these girls. And if you look at now compared to way back when I was like hardcore pickup dude, I had like 100 community dudes numbers, and during this time I probably had maybe 4 or 5, and I had like 50 connector dudes that I knew in the high end scene. And before I lost my phone for the first time, I think I had like 250 or 300 girls in my phone, and we had like a crew of crazies that at any time we could call up and party, hook up. Like, it didn't really matter. But yeah.
Do you find that have you ever gamed or been outside of New York? Yeah, outside of New York for like a long term, like a couple of weeks or something.
Never have. The only thing was a weekend in Atlantic City where I like double pulled and like basically took over this small bar. Like, my mother was with me and she watched me.
Yeah, 'cause what I'm gauging is that New York has a different flavor to it, and I think once you figure it out, like I said, I went there. I was there for almost a week, and it's very similar to London. The only thing that I didn't like about the place is I like my space in North America. Even when I lived in Canada, I wasn't all hem up with bare people around me. In New York is very, like the place I was living, I couldn't even get into the bathroom and shave. I had to kind of duck sideways, and my leg was out in the hallway, and I was like, you know what? And the rent was sky high, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just like, nah, and it was very dirty. I mean, London is dirty, but I was just like, I got spoilt by Canada. You know what I mean? That Canada is very clean. So I got used to, seeing, cleanness. So that's my gauge on why I didn't like New York. But definitely the people there, and the style that you're talking, I felt it works very well, because I did meet a forum member up there, and he took very good care of me. Introduced me. We got into a lot of different places, met a lot of different types of people. Met a couple of, was it a couple or two or one, but a couple of really nice looking Blasians, you know what I mean? Half black and half, I think, Korean or something, yeah. But they look real nice, and I was like, damn, this New York, if I was to get into it, it's very intoxicating, you know what I mean? And even on my way up there, I was talking to a Bayesian chick, and I actually guessed that she was Bayesian on the subway because I was trying to ask her where to get off. So I'm just gauging from that and trying to gauge your game style based on that, and seeing if it's applicable if you've gone elsewhere. Because New York, you definitely have to be on that. Everyone I saw had a certain work output, because that going out 70 days in a row sounds crazy, but in New York, it's feasible because it's the city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
So it definitely sounds feasible. You're a bisexual friend, but if he goes out with you and he doesn't hook up with a chick, does he try the dudes next or what? That's what I'm thinking. I just want to know, because
But I was going to say, like, before I could go for some of that chocolate, 6 weeks.
Well, there was two things that was actually good. The first thing was he didn't like black dudes, so that was cool. The other thing was the fact that it turned out only if he's really drunk that he could actually start messing with guys. But at the time, it was actually easy for me to like chill with him, because one of the first groups that I started hanging out with was this lesbian model. And she used to bring out like these gay guys, cross dressers, trannies, and I also ended up hanging out with a gay promoter who essentially caused me to start drinking a lot, because one night I show up and he's just pouring, and I'm like, yo, this is enough, and he just keeps pouring, tops out the whole thing full of vodka, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And he's like, yo, I like seeing a lot of people being fucked up, like, just have your fun and enjoy. And every Tuesday during that time period used to be so much fun. Like, you would see so much sexual energy. And there's one particular night where my gay friend, I look to my left and my gay friend has this gay guy straddling him. and they're making out passionately, and that's like the first time I ever seen that before. And I just sat there in shock, and I was like, hold up, how the hell is two men so passionate together, and us guys, like, we're all scared and trying to scheme our way to get sexual with chicks. I'm like, I'm never shaking a hand of another girl ever again. Like, hi, if I meet a new girl, it's like, hi, how are you? Kiss on the cheek. Like, a lot of, like, really flirtatious way about me nowadays. Ever since that. And also because the first two nights that I hung out with the bisexual dude, he like just pulls this chick's top off and the girl just shows her tits like it was nothing. Then the next girl, he just starts sucking on her tits, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? Like, how is this going on? And as I like seen the whole fact of like having fun and being flirtatious and sex is fun, like that made everything so much easier for me. And yeah, basically a lot of good times were had because of those experiences.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
always wondered, there's certain guys on the forum, and I think you're one of the guys. I was wondering what attracted you to the forum. I guess Moma said it was the travel aspect. For me, it was the travel aspect and the trip reports. But someone like you, obviously, you posted pictures. I think you even posted pictures of yourself. What was the attraction? I mean, obviously, you've said RSD in the past, but yeah.
Yeah, the main thing that attracted me was the whole travel aspect, because my close guy friends that I don't hang out with in nightlife, they're all internet marketers and they travel. So both of us are actually on the Rouge form, and I think either this year or next year I want to move to Berlin for 3 months and recreate a lifestyle there. Like the psytrance festivals in the forest, and essentially in the later years, in the later years, I wanna echo anyway. In the later years, I want to be able to bring like the model chicks that I meet in New York. I want them to come with me to like the festivals.
Yes. Okay. It's yeah. I got someone pointed me to the forum for me. Can you not hear me?
You're a bit faint.
Faint for once. Let me see if I can. Normally I'm the loudest one here, but yeah, is that better or is it still faint?
Turn up the volume, man.
It's up there, man.
Check your cables.
It is up there. Hold on, guys. Fiddling about a little bit. Is that better? Is that Is that better? Huh?
One more time.
Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Distant?
Yep. Do you hear me?
Okay.
All right. So yeah. So someone I was pointed to the forum because I was I was trying to go abroad to DR, and I was flopped on my contact. We were supposed to go there, and family member who's traveled a lot solo pointed me to the forum. So I posted a question because when I'm traveling, I had certain things in mind. I wanted, lizards of a darker persuasion with a round bum. Those are what I wanted. The rest was not important. I don't really care if the face is tore up. I just wanted a round bomb and dark persuasion. That's what I needed. And I'm simple, but I know what I want. So, I posted the question in the forum. I didn't feel I needed game per se. I just felt, go out more and talk to people and it work out. Because I'm from London and we were forced pretty much, as I said, to do all this stuff. Day game. I've known day game for such a long time because London, as I've mentioned before, we walk around, see someone and be like, yo, what you saying? What you saying? Come here. Can I talk to you for a minute? Yeah. What part you from? What side you from? Is it rare? You look good, So what? Come and get your number or what? And that's just how we do it. You know what I mean? And by the time I came to Canada, I'd been doing that for a while. So it was different in the city, as I mentioned before. I'm not going to go back into that, but I had to, change the mentality a little bit more. But that was the case. So that's why I found the forum anyway. Yeah. So what else are we covering here? Or shall we break a little bit for some music and get back in 5 minutes?
Sounds good.
Does that sound
All
good?
right. Yep, it's cool.
All right. Let me intervene with some music.
I socialize in the crucial situation. I socialize in the crucial situation. I socialize in the crucial situation. Then cut them off. Review the socialize, take negotiate over. Review the situation, take them take over. Review the socialize, take just calm and negotiate. Review the situation, over. My name is Rasket, listen to my flow. I socialize in Hackney and Mo. I wear my trousers ridiculously low. I love females, money and crepes. I'm kinda streetwise, I think that you should know. You're not a bad boy, you're putting on the show. You talking about creeping up on Roscoe. So keep crawling, cause I'm taking bigger steps. My name is Rasket, listen to my slang. I socialize with the crew and the gang. Real youths on the streets is where I hang. I'll make you collapse, leave gaps in your face. You're in your neighborhood thinking that you're nang. Oh please, you got your people thinking that I'm dang. Oh please, but if you try it, I'll make the ratchet bang. You could never outplay me, I'm an ace. I'm not a smoker, but I blaze a lot. Sit around puffing, waste my days a lot. I know I shouldn't waste time, cause I ain't got a lot. I'm just lazy. I'm not a ratchet, but I bang a lot. Got a couple beanies that I slam a lot. I make them happy with my fingers and my hand a lot.
It's dynamite inside the place. Listen to the dynamite. It's dynamite inside the place. Oh, with the sticky. And you know we're gonna get them kinda high. And you know we're gonna get them kinda high. And you know we're gonna get them kinda hyper. Inside the place. Inside the place. Hyper. And we tell them, get it with the rhythm, get it with the drum. Get it with the rhythm, get it with the drum. Why fight and along like you now want some like my Liverpool tongue, me your medicine. Get it with the rhythm, get it with the drum. Get it with the rhythm, get it with the drum. Why fight and along like you now want some like my Liverpool tongue, me your medicine. Feel the bad gal bass, feel the bad gal bass injection. Listen DJ with the boom selection. This one psychotic, it should be section. It's the range.
Yeah. Back up in the mix. Can you not hear me?
Yes, we can, blood.
Yeah, them lot were just saying they liking those tunes. When I play those tunes, I feel good, man. I went to, yeah, man. It just like it's just like nutrition to me. Like if you eat the right food, you go out with the right energy, and if you don't, you know what I mean, you don't eat the right stuff, you come out all farting up the place and thing. Yeah, so you gotta come out correct. You get me? So that's just how it goes. So yeah, we're just gonna we're gonna seg into the other part of the podcast, the interview, and I guess we'll talk about what came up again on the forum. I glance over it sometimes and I notice some issues start to become a little bit, in my opinion, repetitive. And I think there's something that came up about, I guess, black guys that don't date black lizards in America, or something, some college guys. So, I mean, Rudebwoy, what's your take on that? And so, yeah.
No, I think I said I found it disturbing. I try not to get into too much debate on the forum. I mean, everybody has their opinions. As a guy, like I said, I've been around quite a while. I've lived in different places, and predominantly I've grown up in white neighborhoods. So even where I live now, I've never lived in a in a black neighborhood, so I always went to schools where I was probably one of the handful of black kids. So I've come full circle. Maybe it's maturity. I know you have a preference for black lizards. I like black lizards. I don't meet enough black lizards, but one thing I will never do is badmouth a black woman, or I won't badmouth any girl unless she deserves it. So for me to come out and say that all black women or all black American women are like, I guess, who is it? Monique? Is it that fat loud mouth?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The guys, there's too many guys singing that, and ultimately, and I'm a guy, if I've slept with 100, well, I haven't slept with 100 women, but if I've slept with so many women, I guaranteed 80% of them are white. But ultimately, I see myself retired on a balcony in the Caribbean with my black wife and maybe Georgie Pitney. You know what I mean? And Moma, I'm sure you see yourself in Nigeria with your Unfufu or whatever her name is. You know.
What do you they say? I will do you something. I will come to Toronto. I will take you something. I'm telling you, you can't talk. I'm off. Please get off. Get off. Sorry, guys. That was my cousin. He's listening in on this.
You know what I'm saying? So the black woman, and just to wrap it up here, there are places in the States. I mean, I'm not big on America or visiting America. Places like Houston, and these kind of Atlanta, these kind of cities, I guess you could call them chocolate cities. I'm very curious about them, and I've heard a lot about Houston. Hopefully, we can get down there, meet guys like Traveler Kai, maybe Momo to meet, and hey, whoever's down there, I'd love to get to Houston, and I bought my car online from. So, yeah, so that's my. I don't want to ramble on, but Moma, or DistantLight, feel free to.
Well, yeah, for me, it's actually pretty ironic because when I was younger, I was sort of, I guess you could say I was like one of those, they would consider me lame in a sense, where it's just like, this guy, like, no, we're not gonna like mess with him. And I could even recall many times where chicks would like see me and they would see like my friends that used to act like they're my cousin, and they would just be like, yo, why the hell do you look like this and your cousins look like that? And like that used to affect me back then. But how I am now, like, I actually find it much easier because usually these black chicks usually when they meet me, they're kind of intrigued because they can off the top like tell that I'm different. And when I start interacting with them, they could really tell, like, this is like a character, like a really good character that we want to be around. So most of the times they've been open to it. But for me in particular, like my ideal types when it comes to like black women, I generally like the really tall, like model looking girls from like African countries like Sudan and Ethiopia, stuff like that. And it's like gradually getting more and more to the point where it's like, oh, I really like this, because in the high end scene, it's kind of like if they found like the most exotic black chicks they can ever find and just bring them to one place. And a few times I've caught myself where I'm just looking like, holy shit, this girl is just stunning. Like, I really like this. And there was one situation where one chick, I meet her and she's like, hey, can I bring my friend over to hang with us? And it's this tall black girl. And we started like joking around together. And next thing you know, we're like making out. And she's just like, yo, you're like the first black guy in years that I've ever made out with. Turns out she's used to like the sponsor, like 50-year-old white guy that flies her around and stuff. And I was like, all right, this is pretty interesting. And then another time, like I personally do not like the celebrity clubs. Like I don't really like hip hop that much, so I try to like avoid everywhere that the celebrities go. But one time, on Sundays it's basically hip hop night in New York, and one time I showed up drunk to one place that has a lot of hipsters, and it turned out that it was actually the Summer Jam after party. and like Rick Ross, Jay-Z, and shit like that. They were all there, and I remember just meeting all these like black chicks, and it was basically like a walk in the park for me, where it's just like there was no difference between them and like the Eastern European chicks. And I actually find that like the European black chicks and like the ones from Africa and stuff like that, like they remind me of Russians with the whole like Ice Queen and very feminine vibe to them. Whereas the American chicks, like usually when they're with me, they're more I wouldn't say feminine, but they're definitely more submissive in a sense. So for me to like complain about black chicks, like that's just guys whining, like they need to fix themselves and come correct when they're going to them. But yeah, that's my view.
Yeah, the thing is, places are very different depending on where you go. The type of chicks I tend to attract, just my way and so forth, talking to me for a bit, they can realize that I'm different. I'm not a hood guy. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
frequent hood joints, not frequent them, but I'll pass through. But I'm just not a hood guy, and I've never felt the need to do the hood act because I find it's a limiting act. In my
I
experience, I'm not knocking those who are hood. If it's all you know, it's all you know. But it's like if you know a dance step that's got 15 steps, why am I going to do one that's only got 3 steps when I'm fluent in the 15 step? Or if my vocabulary is 300 words, why am I only going to use 30 words? I just like to use everything I've got. So certain places I could do hood. Like if I feel I'm in a place where they're gonna be like, who that man right there? Why he talk so funny? Because I think sometimes they think I'm the feds, and there's certain places I don't want them to think I'm the feds, because they might have cousins who are locked up, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna send you down, because my cousin ain't never gonna be out. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to do that. So in that case, I'm like, no, Brian from around there. You know what I mean? I can do it. So, but I don't want to do it. So I attract certain type of women, and I see some, and the ones who are usually attracted to me in America have interest in England, because I always eventually slip that in pretty quickly. I'll come up and they'll be like, most of them think I'm from the Caribbean because they don't have any frame of reference. So when I come up and I'm like, excuse me, how you doing? Are you Jamaican? I'm like, no, I'm not. I said, I'm from London. Oh my God, I want to go to London. Rah, 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 rah. So that's how it goes from there. So that's what I do. And those who have the interest will continue to pursue it, and we'll go back and forth, and things will escalate from there. And those who don't will just maybe pay me a certain level of cordiality, and then they'll be on their way. So those are the type that I attract, and now I'm better at filtering out. And I do agree certain areas have a high amount of useless chicks, and they can be of any race. Like I've been in Miami, and I still like black chicks, and I'll go some places and like, for what? Like I'm talking to some, I'm like, these are just useless, totally
one thing
useless.
one thing I forgot to point out also that I also realized, because I guess I'm so different in a sense, a lot of black chicks, they get very clingy, because I remember the last like black chick that had like an insane ass. It was to the point where I remember I'm leaving the club with her, and the bouncer like grabs me as if he wants to fight, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, yo, you better take pictures. Like, you have to take pictures. And I'm like, oh, okay. But when I look at her ass, I'm like, holy shit. Like, back in high school, this would be like my ideal right now. And like, I'm just chilling. It's a Monday night. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And it turns out she lives in my old neighborhood. And there's like, going to the train station, and all these head dudes are just looking like, holy shit. Who is this homeless looking guy with torn jeans walking with this girl? I just seen the chat. And basically, I like go home with her or whatever. And I remember her friend like runs into me, and he's like, hey, why haven't you texted her back? Blah, blah, blah. And I like just laughed about it and like kept on my way. But then recently, I met like this Ethiopian girl at one of my friends' like music release parties, and I remember like we're making out and everything's solid, but she has to go home, and I remember for like a week after I didn't like contact her because I don't like texting, so I have no reason to text her. And she like texts me saying, "Hey, did you forget about me already?" And like she's constantly trying to meet up, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm starting to like see a pattern here with the black chicks where instantly they like wanna like stick with me. And there's also another chick that she told people that she liked me, and eventually got to the point where she was starting to ask me like, "Yo, what day can we actually hook up? Like, can we do it this day?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, maybe," and then I would probably get drunk or end up leaving with someone else. But I noticed that a lot with black chicks.
Yeah, you got the abundance mentality, and because you got abundance, so when you, if you got abundance, your mentality is gonna be corresponding after a while. So that attracts a lot of people, and yeah. So it's down to where you go. You gotta pick certain type of chicks. I tend to attract either those that like England or a lot of Caribbean. If they're not immediate Caribbean, they've got Caribbean parentage. African chicks too, but the hood chicks, they don't. I just don't. I can't click with them, and maybe this is arrogant. Maybe the way I talk, because I can't help but say something smart. Not smart like rude, but I might be like,
Yeah,
hey, you know what I mean? I can say something that can distract them because a lot of lizards like the fact that they can outwit their man. I think
yeah,
that's their edge. So some of the goons they're with, yeah, they goons. They will put that heat on you, but lizards are always scheming. Not all of them. I'm not saying that's what they do, but generally, if you've got nothing to do, you're going to be thinking, okay, how can I do this and that and so forth. So they can run a little game. On these guys who really have always been out on the streets. And then me, if I say something like, can you please expansiate yourself? I didn't understand that. Oh shit! He said expansiate. I better run. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it goes. But that's a take on it. Guys who are finding an issue there, you really have to get your lens proper and start
definitely.
to find certain types of black women. And as Distant Light is with the ripped jeans and stuff, that's almost, it sends out a beacon that I'm different. But if you throw on the hoodie
Yeah.
and the Tims, you're kind of sending out a bait for a certain type of fish. You hunt, you got to have a different type of bait, or you're going to get a certain type of fish, and you have to throw them back in the lake, innit? So,
Quick question: are you the dude that wears a
Yeah,
crotchless jeans?
yeah, yeah.
that's it.
Like they weren't purpose, but partying so much and like I like dancing, and back then I used to like stand on the sofa and like just be crazy, and eventually they started tearing, and because of the brand, like their nudie jeans, the tagline is basically your second skin. So I like took that to heart, and when they started tearing, I'm like, oh, this is even better. Like this is an expression of myself. So when people would like see it, they're like, what the hell is going on there? And I would just laugh about it, and I would just tell them like, yeah, I get a bit crazy. So if you can't handle that, then I don't think this will work. And usually everyone's like, no, I can handle this, and that's what started the whole like fact that sometimes I'll just show up and I'll just be like, "Oh, are you ready?" And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Shit's about to go down tonight. Like, it's about to be a good night." And at first they're just like, "Oh, okay." And then when they see me, they're like, "Actually, this guy's really fun." But my bisexual friend, one night we're walking and he's like, "How the hell is it that you have torn jeans? Like in the real world, everyone would be like, 'Yo, you need new jeans.' But here in like the high end scene, they're just looking like this guy's eccentric, like he's cool, like let him right in, like this is awesome." But yeah, that's that's the story with the whole torn jeans.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around that, man. I'm not knocking. I'm just trying to see how I can work that into my repertoire. It may never get worked in, but you never know. You never know.
Wow.
Yeah, but well, I don't have any other questions at this point in time. Rude Boy, do you have anything?
Yeah, I guess in closing, then, in terms of, you're, again, we've asked this question many times. You're a Black American. What advice would you give to this younger cats? I mean, obviously, my advice, or take it after speaking with you. I mean, I feel I need to pack my bags and move to New York, because I know a lot of guys who are in New York, and no one ever has anything bad to say about New York City in terms of women and nightlife. But yeah, I mean, any advice you can give, or I mean, obviously, you have a fun, vibrant energy. You have that, don't give a shit attitude, which I adapt, and maybe it's a little tougher to adapt that in Toronto than say New York City. But yeah, I mean, I'll let you have the last word. And any advice? Go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing is I definitely always say, like, be your own man. Like, whatever personality that you have, that's unique in and of itself, because no one else has like your perspective on life and your expressions. So that's why I kind of like rag on guys that try to be a certain way that was told to them from some pickup book or some shit like that. But when you like passionately like yourself and like the things that you do in your life, like, it will suck girls in a sense. Because, for instance, I'm like a very big military head. Like, no one really knows this. And like, I study military doctrine. I play war games and apply it. And recently I was telling like one of my girls about that, and she like found it very interesting. And I was telling her how I actually like used to look on a gore site at a lot of like wars and stuff, and how I am now is kind of like an expression of like me paying homage to all the people that can't live how I live, because 99% of the time I'm generally happy. Even if like physical circumstances is bad, I'm generally happy. And when I'm out going being social and shit, I'm just focused on having fun. Like, if I always say it's kind of like if the doctor told me I had cancer and this is my last night, so I'm going out with a bang, and I'm basically doing that every single time that I go out. And these chicks end up really liking the fun aspect of it. Like, in the past 3 years, the biggest thing that I found about girls is that they like about me was the fact that I have so much fun, and I'm so open to that whole aspect. And eventually I had experiences where girls would come up to me, random girls, and they would just be like, hey, I really didn't want to come out tonight, but I'm so glad that I did, because just watching you just be you was priceless. And eventually, when I started like building up a crew of girls, certain girls, they would not go out unless I was going out. And I realized that the whole fun aspect of it was a primary thing. And it kind of like fueled my whole like past 3 years, where it was just like, go out, like have a blast, and if these girls are cool, like just give them my number and hit them up. Like, we're not going to be doing none of that dating shit. We're not going to be formal. Like, don't come with any logical bullshit. Like, just have fun. Like, don't make this complicated. And yeah, for like the past 3 years, it's been really, really fun, to the point where it's not even about girls anymore. It's more about like life experiences and making it very memorable. And that all those experiences, when they accumulate, it kind of makes you more of a solid guy, where there's some sort of depth. And chicks could kind of like tell now, where if I just show up, it's just like, all right, there's something about this guy. When they like talk to me and they see the little smirk, where I'm just like, oh gosh, here it goes again. Like, let's see if she can handle this. And yeah, the chicks just love it. Like, it's no longer this passive thing where it's some guy like begging, like, oh, I like you, like as soon as I seen you, I'm ready, like all you have to do is just allow me to have sex with you, then everything will be grand. Like please give me validation, like all that bullshit. And I realized like the really really hot chicks, they really value that a lot. And it's to the point where I was hanging out with so many hot girls that to me it was just like, yo, all these chicks are more or less like hot. And when the whole like challenging aspect of it was just like, when I meet them, it's like, yo, you're hot, but are you actually like cool? Like, are you actually a good human? And that kind of like spirals the whole point where it's like, all right, I think I should just drop any sort of games or bullshit with this guy because he's not here to like try and swindle his way into getting laid. And essentially, that's how I like mopped up like a shitload of girls in a pretty small time frame.
Can I ask a
But
quick question? Do you don't have to answer if you want. Do you take like different type of drugs, shrooms, pills, and all that stuff?
it's actually funny because I never used to drink or smoke, but now I drink a lot because when I first started, there was like these bottle guys. They would always just be like, "Yo, we want you at our table. Like, here, take this champagne bottle. Like, let's drink." And I would just be like, "No, I'm not gonna thing." And there was always this like vibe kill every time I said no. So one day I'm like, you know what? Like, let's just say yes. Like, let's do this. Took it and we had a blast. I'm like, all right, this was like a cool, memorable time. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, all right, let's keep drinking. And one specific situation, I'm like at the hottest club with three model chicks, and basically like P Diddy is there, which this club P Diddy should not be there. And I'm just like, oh, okay, what's up? And he's like, hey, and he ends up taking our table, buying out our table. So my crew is just like, yo, we're going to this next spot. And my girl's like, no, I want to stay and like hang out with P Diddy. I'm like, forget that bullshit. Like, you're with me. Like, if you want to have fun, like, come along. So they come along, and when we get to the door, the Saudi prince's bodyguard like sees us, and he's just like, yo, you're coming to my table. And I'm just like, all right, cool, let's do this. He takes me to the table, like introduce me to the Saudi prince, and they just bring like a shitload of champagne bottles, and he's just like, yo, this is for you. And I'm just like, okay, thank you for this bottle. And we like start drinking and having an insane time. And at this point, I'm like, holy shit, I need to connect with the Saudi prince. So I'm like to the guy, I'm like, yeah, you're awesome. Like, I hang out with a lot of girls. Like, I don't know too many guys. So if you ever want to like hang out, take my number. And the director of marketing for the club, he sees this and he's like, yo, don't take his number, take my number. You're coming out with me. And like the whole staff, they're just like, yo, this guy needs to work here. Like, we need him, whatever. And eventually it got to the point where random guys would be out and they're like, yo, come to my table, like, here, let's drink. So the drinking got heavy, and because like girls were getting much easier, where it was just like 5 minutes talking, we're going home, it got to the point where I kind of like stopped thinking about anything. So the alcohol drinking got higher to the point where I started blacking out, and then supposedly I like did a bit of cocaine, which I don't remember. And then eventually, I think one of my girls, the first time I went to a warehouse party, she had me try ecstasy because I kind of wanted to see what the difference between me sober and me on ecstasy. And there wasn't really much of a difference other than the fact that if I wanted to like chill and turn it off, I couldn't chill and turn it off. So it was kind of like it was locked into that mode of just being, yeah, let's go talk to the world, like let's go build the pyramids and just show all this love. But last year, because of alcohol, I got banned from two of the top places, and the guy that actually was in San Tropez with that girl way back, I somehow met him while I was drunk, and we became really good friends. And in 2014, I was supposed to go to south of France with them and stay in like some luxury villa with like 40 model chicks and just stay there for a month. But all that went through the roof because my drinking problems of 2014, and I ended up getting pickpocketed, losing my phone. I think I lost my phone like 10 or 11 times. So I kind of was like trying to chill out for a while. And when I got into like psychedelic music, because of like my meditation stuff, when I would listen to it, I'm like, yo, this is like I'm actively like meditating, like this is cool. And somebody like mentioned LSD once, and I started researching about it, and it sounded like something I wanted to try. So this New Year's Eve, kind of a homage to like ending that whole 2014 like pure fuck ups. I was gonna take LSD, so I took LSD that night, and it was kind of like a fun house
On the phone.
where everything was
I'm on
kind
the
of
phone.
everything was kind of
On
like
the phone.
how to even, I can't really describe it, but it was amazing, and like everyone could feel like what I was like putting out there, and all these girls were like running up to me, and I was like to my friend like, yo, there's no way I can touch these girls right now, like I am messed up right now, so if any girls try to talk to me, can you please like speak to them? But yeah, I'm a big fan of people trying LSD and Molly. But I
Cool.
one thing I do say is, if you cannot handle your shit, like do not even get into that stuff, because I know a lot of girls that's addicted to cocaine, and I don't understand how people could be addicted to cocaine, but yeah, I know a few that were like that. Actually, one of my escort chicks that I used to hang out with, she was like a huge cokehead, and yeah, I don't recommend people use cocaine at all,
All right.
especially if you have addictive personality.
Cool. Yeah, well, it's been great having you on board. What I can take definitely from you is just that energy, the laissez-faire attitude, where it's just like, yeah, I'm doing my thing, I'm having fun. If you want to have fun, join my party, and if not, keep it moving, pretty much in a nice way. So that's definitely an important philosophy to take on board. And yeah, I guess we're gonna conclude it for today. It's been thank you very much for gracing us with your presence and from Starbucks. Just joking.
Hey man, yeah, teeth my joke, man.
I can give you royalties on that, Reggie. I can give you royalties.
Well, you gotta explain the joke now.
Oh, I don't think people heard. I think we're having issues with earlier on, and then we were wondering if Distant Light is just in Starbucks using their Wi-Fi. That's where it originates from.
You can tell he's in New York. You can tell some of the traffic and the noise in the background.
Bare sounds in the background, man. Vibrant city, vibrant city. Man.
Vibrant, yes,
Yeah.
respect. But yes, thank you for coming aboard, and yeah, enjoyable, and you dropped a lot of good stuff, and I love your mindset. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing and stay healthy.
All right, this is Moma signing out.
Rude boy out.
Listen, take care, everyone.
All right,
Okay, have a good weekend. Bye bye. Happy Easter. Bye.
same to you. Bye, peace.